happy to be Mike's best man on this extremely special day here at the Amway Grand Plaza Hotel. But before I go any further, what do you think of the day so far? Yeah! Again, I'm very proud and humbled to be able to give this toast today. You know, I've known Mike for a little over 20 years. Now, most of you probably knew this already, but for those of you who don't, Mike is an airline pilot. And even when I met him all those years ago, I could see that he was destined to fly. You see, pilots have a unique set of characteristics that make them perfect for the job. First and foremost, an aspiring pilot needs to have good eyesight. Well, Mike certainly has that. Has anyone seen his bride? Pilots also have a tendency to be explorers and adventure seekers. Naturally, this is why they are attracted to becoming pilots in the first place. But they also typically have to have intelligence, a high level of ambition, and low tolerance for making mistakes. This rare combination has always driven Mike to apply his talents and be the best that he could be in whatever it was he did. Whether it was owning a successful business at 19, or receiving honors from our graduation at Florida Atlantic University, or maybe it was just simply being a good friend or a good son. No matter what Mike did, and no matter what he ever set his mind to, he always looked to the sky. Even if he hadn't become a pilot, he was destined to soar through the clouds. Of course, I was not the least bit surprised when he told me that he decided he wanted to become a pilot and was enrolling in flight school. But nothing ever comes easy, but that's okay with Mike. He's the kind of person who rises to the occasion, who's always up to the challenge. And when you enroll in flight school, there are many sacrifices that you have to be willing to make, especially with finances. Now, Mike has told me many times that flight school conditions pilots to be frugal and disciplined when it comes to their finances, which of course is another great characteristic, but is also pretty funny too. So I got a question. So what's the difference between a flight school student and a pepperoni pizza?
Nothing.
A pepperoni pizza can actually feed a family of 4. But eventually you get out of flight school and become a pilot. But what do you call it, and we've got several pilots here today, what do you call it when a crew of pilots tips their waitress at the end of a dinner? The March of Dimes. Now, it's one thing to have the characteristics of a pilot, but quite another to actually fly a plane. Is anyone here a fan of the movie Airplane? There's a great scene that you'll probably remember in which Captain Rex Kramer is trying to talk Ted Stryker through the process of flying and landing an airplane after all the other pilots became sick. And in doing so, he tells them, flying a plane is no different from riding a bicycle. It's just a lot harder to put baseball cards in the spokes. Now, I'm not a captain like Rex Kramer, but I've learned a few things about flying from Mike. And it occurred to me that marriage is really no different from flying a plane. It's just a lot harder to change your co-pilot every day. That's why when it comes to marriage, it's vitally important that a pilot choose his co-pilot wisely. Because marriage is the longest flight you will ever take. When flying the plane, the pilot and co-pilot have complementary roles, one that combines their unique characteristics into becoming a successful team. In marriage, it's really no different. I've gotten to know Kendra over the last year, and what I have observed is probably no different than what many of you have observed. Kendra is the perfect complement to Mike's pilot personality and vice versa. It's almost cliche to say, but I can see how they complete each other. I've seen it firsthand. You probably have too. Together, they have discovered wings they never knew they had, and it is why we're here today, to celebrate their lifelong flight together. But as much as we'd like to think that having the right pilot and co-pilot will ensure a smooth flight, experienced flyers know better. How many of you had to get on a plane to be here today? All right, some of you. Well, me too. Well, let's face it, flying sure is tough these days. I was at the Fort Lauderdale airport, and I checked my bag at the counter, and I looked up and I saw mistletoe. And I said, it's the middle of June, what on earth is there mistletoe for? So I asked the baggage clerk, what is that all about? She said, well, that's so you can kiss your baggage goodbye. Of course, I was about halfway through my flight. The flight attendant comes over to me, and she says, would you like something to eat? I said, sure. What are my choices? She said, your choices are yes or no. But you know what, look at it this way, it could have been a lot worse. As much as we hate taking off our shoes at the airport, imagine if Richard Reed, the shoe bomber, had actually decided to be the underwear bomber. Think about that. But back to the point at hand. Flying is never easy, neither is marriage. Now, I've been married to my beautiful wife for over 12 years, so I know firsthand how challenging it can be. Like flying, marriage often requires you to make fast adjustments and deal with life's little surprises. There's delays at the airport, or delays in doing the chores. Missing connections, or missing the hamper. Lost luggage, or a lost remote control. Dealing with rude passengers, or maybe rude family. Dealing with turbulence in the sky, or turbulence in the bathroom. There's many others, but I think you get the idea. Anytime you encounter these little quirks and issues on a plane, as annoying as they may be, a pilot can't just simply jump off the plane or try to fly it alone. This is also true of marriage. When faced with the unexpected, a pilot and co-pilot must accept the challenge and once again rise to the occasion. And in doing so, they will eventually get through the issue and ultimately reach their final destination. With flying, that destination is a physical place. With marriage, that place is emotional and spiritual. But to get there, you have to first be willing to get on the plane and assume the controls. And I think that I speak for everyone here today when I congratulate both Mike and Kendra for committing to take this flight together as man and wife, as pilot and co-pilot. So I ask all of my fellow passengers here today to raise up a glass. Godspeed and happy travels. May the wind always be at your backs. To the bride and groom.